So men that do YouTube videos, do they have to do the same stuff? Like brush their hair, put powder on so the noses are not shiny, put lipstick on. Do they have to do the same thing, or is it just us women that have to look good? I mean, hello everybody, welcome to yet another video. As I mentioned before, with the new Sony ZV-E10 that doesn't overheat and autofocus is super, I'm now trying to film more videos because I have obviously a lot to say. It is just so much easier to film without having to worry about overheating, without attaching many things. So if my white balance and my light changes throughout the video, it's because I'm using natural light and I'm sitting about 2 feet away from a big window. Anyway, I've had a gimbal for a long time. It's the Zhiyun M2S that I purchased in order to use with my Fuji X100V, even though I knew that I couldn't use the remote buttons on the gimbal. And now I thought with this new Sony ZV-E10, I'm going to use this gimbal more because I can now communicate with my Sony camera. And I figured I'm going to use it all the time. Not so easy. Gimbals are, even small ones, very cumbersome and bulky. They have to be set up, they have to be powered, they have to be charged, and you have to be able to use them too. It's not just like the gimbal does the work for you. You gotta use, there's different settings, follow mode. There's definitely a big learning curve to these gimbals. So we're looking at weight, bulkiness, difficult to operate. What you're getting for that is really nice, smooth footage that looks very cinematic. A lot of cameras now have artificial stabilization, especially when you're looking at action cams like GoPro or Insta360. They have stabilization that is computer generated in the cameras, embedded, so you don't need to put them on gimbals anymore. And even something like your regular old phone, it's a lot more stable than it used to be even a couple of years ago. But still, we're looking to get the best footage, the most stable footage, the easiest way. Even with this small and relatively easy gimbal that I purchased from Zhiyun, I just wouldn't use it. Instead, I wanted something that I could hold the camera up with, like a grip, and then take the shot with that. This is not stabilizing your shots, but it makes it more stable than you just holding the camera and walking around with it. Sony and Fuji both came out with a USB camera grip for their respective camera models. But both of those models, first of all, way too expensive, and they didn't have the features that I was looking for. Cameras have come a long way in artificial stabilization. So it was just logical that I said, let's forget about the gimbal. Let's go with a stick instead. I didn't go neither Fuji nor Sony route. I went a third party. I bought myself this little thing. Let me show you why I bought this. First of all, I like what it looks like. It's made by Smallgrip. It has these two little legs so you can put it on a table. It has a remote control just like the Fuji or Sony one, a camera button, a record button, function button. It's whatever you program in the C1 button on your Sony, this is what this one also triggers. A slider for zooming in and out. Let me see if I can do that here for you. So I'm just connecting right now. So zooming in, zooming out. And it has an on-off slider, so when you throw it in your purse and you're not triggering buttons so you don't run out of power, you turn that off. The nice thing about this remote here, it is removable. It's magnetically set in place. And it doesn't fall out. Is rechargeable by USB-C. So that sits here, but I can also use this remote independently from this. I was filming myself in the kitchen the other day, and I put the tripod down with the camera on it, and then with the remote, I started filming. I didn't have to walk back to the camera with wet hands. So this works really well for that as well. The second is the same function that the Sony model has. You push the button in, very easy. It's a metal button. You push it in, and now you can adjust this neck here up and down 180 degrees all the way. Now the camera would hang like this. Sorry, I don't have a camera in there because I'm filming with this camera. But if you want to adjust that, you can also push this button down, rotate it, and now it's horizontal or vertical, depending. There you go. So this is the exact same function that the Sony and the Fuji handles have. Tripod, adjustment, there you go, with a remote. Except for this one's removable and rechargeable. But this is not where this ends. This one has a tripod screw on the bottom. So I went and got myself a $9 tripod foot from Amazon that I screw in here like this. And now I have a little tabletop tripod, but it doesn't end here. This particular one from Smallgrip extends once and then another time. So now you have a taller tabletop tripod. There is one problem with this though. When you extend it twice and have it vertically like this, meaning you're not using it horizontally like a selfie stick, the weight of even the ZV-E10 is too great and it pushes down this first element here. But I wouldn't be caring if I didn't find a solution or a hack for that problem too. A pen. You put a pen in this, and I found a pen that has a top and a bottom that is like a little rubbery. And now, okay, I'm going to try this. You can push down on this as hard as you can. It doesn't move. This, in my opinion, is now a very useful tool. This little handle from Smallgrip costs $110 Canadian from Amazon. So it's not super cheap, but it has become amazingly useful for me. I walk around with it in a crowd on the non-extended handle when the camera faces forward. I can extend the handle when the camera faces towards me to film myself or do a family shot with my family members all in the picture. I have a tabletop tripod now that has a remote that is removable. This is the Falcom F38 receptacle for these Falcom plates that I have on my camera. So I can switch it quickly from my tripod to my tabletop tripod where I'm filming right now, to my regular tripod to this thing. That's why I have that mounted on there. It makes this whole rig so useful and so fast and so easy to use that even if there's a little bit of wiggle in my footage, I won't care. Even when you have it attached to the handle, you could still literally take it to your eye and take a picture, which you can never do with a gimbal. There's just no way. Obviously, it has caveats. It's plasticky. It is not a Sony product. It's a secondary product. It is expensive. It does need to be charged. It does need to be supported when you're extending it in fully vertical mode. But even with those drawbacks, it is still a very, very useful tool in my camera bag. Together with the ND filter, this little tripod, it now lives in my purse permanently when I take this camera with me, because it is just so easy and so fast to deploy. So yes, that's a quick review I wanted to throw out there. I believe they make it for other cameras too, not just Sony cameras, but don't quote me on it. I'm gonna put a link to this particular one in the description box below. So have a look at it. If that's something that fits the bill for you, happy filming. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will see you again in my next video. Bye.